So in today's video, we're going to be going over recent news regarding Dino Crisis and Resident Evil 1 Director's Cut being made available to purchase on PlayStation. What's strange about this is that I actually checked the PlayStation app and Dino Crisis was actually free for me. So let's get started with the news. So for those of you that don't know, Dino Crisis actually released on October of this year on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 consoles, which was really great. But when it actually released, a bunch of fans were really upset due to the fact that those games were locked behind a paywall, and the paywall being the most expensive version of PlayStation Plus. So a lot of people obviously weren't able to purchase it because a lot of people don't really like PlayStation Plus Premium. Not to mention, roughly around 2 years ago, the same thing happened with Resident Evil Director's Cut releasing for PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5, but obviously being locked behind that PlayStation Premium paywall. So it was quite a surprise today to find out, literally like at 4 a.m. when I woke up because I went to bed super early, that these games are basically available to purchase. They're available for $9.99 USD. But when I actually looked it up on the PlayStation app, I noticed something very strange. I noticed that Dino Crisis was actually free for me. And I was actually super confused. You know, at first I was like, oh, maybe it's because I have PlayStation Plus. But then I realized and I remembered, I'm like, wait a second, I haven't had PlayStation Plus since like June of this year. I've actually just been using like my cousin's PlayStation Plus since our accounts are both connected. So if anything, if you guys are on PlayStation, make sure to go and check that out to see if you actually have Dino Crisis for free, because all of the articles that I was actually reading when it just released, like literally like 2 hours ago, all of them didn't specify this. They all said that Dino Crisis and Resident Evil 1 Director's Cut were both $9.99. Now, when I did actually look for Resident Evil 1 Director's Cut, it was, you know, $13.99 for me Canadian, but very strange. I don't know. I mean, obviously I'm not complaining, and not to mention I am a Capcom creator, so I would have gotten the game for free anyways. And it's definitely not Capcom too. For those of you that are kind of thinking that, it definitely isn't the case because PlayStation isn't connected to Capcom, my Capcom Creators program. So yeah, that's not how that works. Usually you just have to put in a request and then they give you a code for the game that you can put either on Steam, Xbox, or PlayStation. So again, I'm very confused as to why I got Dino Crisis. If anything, I find it very strange that Capcom actually went back and kind of undid the paywall for Resident Evil Director's Cut and also Dino Crisis. Now, don't get me wrong, this is a fantastic move by Capcom. The only other thing that would kind of be the cherry on top is if Capcom actually decided to add trophies for both of the games. I think that that would be a wonderful feature. And also, if Capcom is listening to this video, definitely add Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3, and please add trophies as well as Dino Crisis 2. That would be amazing. Not to mention Outbreak, if we even want to go there, that would also be fantastic. But I think maybe the reason why Capcom decided to do all of this, it could be that since all of the backlash that Capcom fans were kind of giving Capcom, right? Like when Capcom was posting on Twitter, basically saying all of like the games that are available to purchase, and a lot of people were like, can you just can you take away the paywall for Dino Crisis and also Director's Cut? Because I actually want to play those games, you know what I mean? So a lot of people were kind of saying those comments in Capcom social. So I think that that's probably the reason why they actually decided to take away the paywall. But as mentioned, this is fantastic news. And for those of you that don't know what Dino Crisis is, it's actually a survival horror action adventure video game series created by the same creator as Resident Evil, aka Shinji Mikami, and it was developed and published by Capcom. The plot focuses on recurring outbreaks of deadly dinosaurs in closed environments such as a laboratory on an island. And on top of that, if you guys didn't know already, that's actually the series that got me into Resident Evil as a kid. So I definitely started with Dino Crisis 1, Dino Crisis 2. Well, in reality, I did start with Silent Hill first, then I went to Dino Crisis 1 and then Dino Crisis 2. I've always preferred Dino Crisis 2 because it's always been more action-packed, kind of similar to like Resident Evil 4, but obviously still with the, you know, fixed camera angles. But the other thing that I should also mention is that the PlayStation versions of Resident Evil 1 Director's Cut and Dino Crisis are actually pretty goated. And the reason that that's the case is actually because PlayStation has a rewind feature where you can actually save and load your game anytime, anywhere, as soon as the game actually loads up. And on top of that, you also have access to the rewind feature. So essentially, you could always just go back a couple of frames, I think roughly around like 30 seconds or something like that. It's always like 30 seconds. So for example, if you turn a corner and you get grabbed by a zombie, or in this case with Dino Crisis, by a dinosaur, you could always just go back a couple of frames and kind of cheat the system like that. It's a really fun way of playing these old-timey games, especially if you've never played them. And as I've stated before, this is $9.99 for both of these games. So if you guys haven't experienced these games in maybe a long time, or maybe it's your first time, I definitely recommend that you guys grab both of these games. If anything, I'm super excited to start playing Dino Crisis again. I think the last time I actually played Dino Crisis 1 was like 10 years ago, or maybe a little less. I recently did play Dino Crisis 2 though, which was super hype. As mentioned, Dino Crisis 2 was always my favorite out of the two, but both are still very nice. So, but as mentioned, make sure to go and check your PlayStation accounts and check to see if Dino Crisis is actually free for you. If it isn't, make sure to let me know down in the comments, because I'd love to know if this is just a fluke, if this happened to just a small number of people, or if this is just normal and everybody got it for free. Make sure to subscribe if you guys want more Resident Evil or survival horror news, and thank you so much for watching.